try to win the approval of other people or to impress other people. And I know the tour players, we talk all the time, nobody else cares about your game. No one else goes home and talks about your golf. I mean, they just don't care that much. They're too worried about what you think about theirs. And the better you can get at going out there and getting in your own little world and your own little bubble and playing your game, the better. And crazy things happen. I mean, Keegan Bradley last year, he grew up about a half an hour from me in Vermont. His dad was a pro at a club that cost maybe $300-400 a year in Springfield, Vermont. No college in the country recruited him. He finally got a partial at St. John's University in Queens, New York. It's not really where you go, if you want to make it on tour. And Keegan plays in his first major last year and wins. And, it hadn't happened, I don't know, 60-something years. And he just went out and played his game. And what was fascinating about it, this is a good lesson for everybody playing tomorrow, Keegan was like 3 over after the first 4 holes on Thursday, got in position on Saturday and double bogeyed his first hole, then got tied for the lead on Sunday and triple bogeyed the 15th hole and still won the tournament against tour pros. I think a lot of people, if they do any of those things, are convinced they're idiots, start beating themselves up, telling themselves that they stink and they haven't got a chance, and they start giving up. And, in the world of pro golf, nobody just walks off the golf course in the middle of the round when I say give up. I mean, we're more talking about giving up mentally or emotionally. So they finish the round physically, but they're mentally and emotionally not engaged. And, to us, all we're trying to do is win the battle. There's a kid named Charlie Belgian that's won out of the league going to Atlanta State tomorrow at the Greenbrier. And 3.5 weeks ago, he was here. And he played with Donnie Robertson from Green Hills and one of his buddies out there named Bubba. And, it's amazing. This Bubba kid's like 21 years old or something, whatever it is. And he played with Charlie, and score-wise, you really wouldn't know who the pro was. I mean, Bubba played just about as good as Charlie. And yet a month later, Charlie's out there having a chance to win more. And, that's really the beauty of the game. Because, I think what Bubba and Donnie Robertson saw is he's just a guy. He's just like everybody else. A few years ago, Jimmy Casella and Donnie Robertson, and I think Bill, they played with Keegan. He played over in Farmington. Now, Keegan's pretty impressive. He hits the ball pretty darn far and made the course look pretty easy. Shot the easiest 63 you've ever seen, which tied the course record at Farmington without ever having seen it before. But you'd be amazed how many tour players could do that on any of the courses around here. But to go out there and do it in a tour event, when you're playing against the best players in the world, is a whole other thing. And that's the challenge for everybody in this game. And I think that's why we play it. Basically, you practice, you learn how to do something, and then you say, okay, now I go out and see if I can do it in a big golf tournament. And I've always told players that really a tournament is a party. So we've always called it party time. And we've always told them, it's not a war. No one gets shot in a tournament. There are no landmines. You're just going out there and play a game with all the other people in the world that love your game. And that's what a party is. That's the attitude we try to get people to have. I don't know. If you want to ask some questions, I'll be glad to accept the answers. Anybody have any questions you want to ask? Yes, Peter, go ahead. What is your biggest question? I know you must have some having played with you. Yeah, that was... What was it, Peter? The meaning of life? I know for me it was getting paired with you. I had this state of happiness. Love it. Yeah, go ahead. Technical question. Yeah, that's
pretty good round hitting the ball, but a tough putting round.
Yeah.
Did you do anything different tomorrow before you went out and improved your putting?
Well, the first thing, the question is, I had a pretty good ball strike around, didn't putt particularly well. Would you do anything different tomorrow before your round? Well, the first thing I'd say is, well, did you have your mind in the right place on every putt? If you had your mind where you wanted it on every putt and trusted it, or were seeing it go in or whatever, one who knows the answer to that question. No one else does. Like commentators on TV like to pretend they know, but they don't have a clue. Okay? Even the players I work with, I don't know until I talk to them. But you'll know. So that'd be the first thing I'd ask. Second thing, well, if I did that really good, then I'd say, well, did I hit the punch where I was looking and I misread them all? Do I need to adjust my read? Maybe they're breaking more or less. My experience here is that often they break less than you can believe. So you might need to make that adjustment. I mean, some people on these greens feel like, and the greens are great, I should add, but some people feel like they got to move the hole back because they keep leaving them short. So some guys would move the cut back in their mind and pretend it's 2-3 feet further away than it actually is, which is easy to do with your mind. And then the fourth thing would be teach your pro or somebody, and you can go look at your fundamentals, whatever your, where do you want your ball position, where do you want your eyes relative to the ball, where do you want it in your stance, and included in that would be your pre-shot routine, physically and mentally. So I mean, people are always going back to mental and physical and emotional fundamentals before we go try something different. But if you ask me, do players on tour ever change? Oh, I've seen guys change the middle of the round. We just call it panic. So we'd rather do in the tournament what we've been practicing. I mean, I would say, well, if that's not working, how is something you've never done before going to work? Anybody else? Yeah.
Doc, what do you think the difference is? I know you touched on it a little bit between like your local player, say nationwide player, E-Tour player, and your tour player, PJ Tour player. What's the difference between them?
What's the difference between local players, nationwide, PGA Tour players?
How do you make that leap? Is my question.
Well, first and foremost, I would say tour players don't change what they shoot based on who else is in the tournament or what the tournament's called or how much money it's for or how prestigious the trophy is. They just play their game all the time. I mean, that's where it really separates them. Like you could watch all kinds of players play great all summer and then they go to tour school and their numbers go up 10 shots. I mean, that's pretty much belief. So certainly belief would be at the top of the list. I would say second of all would be short game. And third of all would be how close you hit it with your scoring clubs, like your 8-iron through your wedge. And I mean, obviously some of them hit it really long, which is an advantage on some courses. But, I work with people like David Thompson that's at 270, 275, and he does just fine. But his short game, he played at the U.S. Open with Padre Carrington and Davis Love, so I followed that group the first 2 days. And David Thompson had the worst driving 2 days I've ever seen him have. Normally he's just dead straight. So I mean, most guys who are short on tour are pretty straight. Some are really long and crooked, but he's really short and straight. But I would say he had 9 bunker shots, probably from that tent to that Pepsi machine. The first 2 days he got all 9 up and down. That's pretty impressive. I mean, he put on a scoring clinic. I don't know what he finished third or something in the tournament. But it was amazing watching how much behind the other players he was, but what he did with the scoring game was pretty amazing. But I mean, he probably lives in the present moment on the golf course as good as anyone. Like in talking to Nicholas Colsart earlier today, he and Keegan right now are dealing with the chance to possibly make their first Ryder Cup team. And there's not many weeks left. And I mean, Nicholas is like, I'm trying so hard to stay in the moment and not think about the Ryder Cup team. He's from Belgium. He doesn't figure he's just going to get picked. And even though he won the World Match Play and he's having a great year and played, he's really good. The last 2-3 picks often are the captain's buddies or somebody, and there's a lot of politics in those spots. And both he and Keegan are working like heck right now on staying into what they're doing and not letting their mind wander on that during the round. Yeah.
Doc, what do you remember from London tournament?
Well, that's a good follow-up to that. I remember making about a 15-foot putt on the last hole, which was 9 now, but I guess it's 18, and the par 3. And I you know you had to make that to win? I go, no, I had no clue. Was it? And he was, I remember him going, you didn't know? I had no clue. He said, you weren't watching me all day? I mean, and kind of what you very definitely what you teach the tour players is they don't have anything to do with your game unless you let them. And it's like you have to assume that if you play the way you're capable of playing or somewhere near the way you're capable of playing, you'll win. If you don't, there's lots of other people who can win. So, I mean, I guess you could call it peace of mind, call it living in the moment, could be being in a bubble. A lot of words for it, but you have to really make the rest of the world irrelevant when you're playing. I always tell a story the first time Sergio and Tiger played together at Doral. TV made a big thing of the post-round interview. They interviewed Tiger and go, well, Tiger, I mean, what was it like playing with Sergio for the first time, seeing as he's one of the best drivers of the golf ball and it's not your best skill? And Tiger goes, I have no clue. How do you hit it? They go, well, hit it really good. Played very nice. One better than you. Oh, did he? They go, well, what do you mean? You were inside the ropes. You got to watch every shot. Yeah, maybe it's I didn't watch it. Well, what do you mean? Well, when he swung, I just looked down. Why would I want to look at his swing? Some people, if you haven't been trained to do it, it sounds ludicrous. But good athletes learn to do it. I mean, they do it in every sport. But, the great baseball pitcher plays catch with a catcher's mitt and makes the batter invisible. So we can say it about everything. Well, why don't we stop and this Peter looks very hungry and seeing and seeing what this is all about. Peter, thanks a lot for everything you've done. And Bill and Ryan and GL and everybody else. It's been a great tournament for a long time.